constituency that now offers the residents multiple usage.
It really brings happiness to us in Tiantec when we see the joy in the faces, in the behavior of villagers whenever we go to these ceremonies to turn on lights. It has become a feature of the lives of the villagers who have enjoyed this facility, and we will be continuing as long as is possible. I mean, the objective is to light up all the grounds in Trinidad and Tobago eventually.
We have been stagnated recently, and we hoping that the lights will be the stimulus to have the villagers to come back. We are not accustomed to seeing all the ladies on the ground and all the children, and it's very amazing for us to see the amount of support that we have on the first night. We hope that the facilities that we have, the improvement, we will encourage the villagers to come out so that the young gentlemen and them, they could develop their game. And cricket is not about developing their cricket, but develop themselves as well as gentlemen in the country. We applaud the ladies for coming, because when the ladies come, the children would come. And if the children don't come, the sports club wouldn't have a future.
A heartfelt thank you goes out to Tiantec and Dr. Suruj Rambachan for, lighting up the village.
We make the very bad mistake of thinking that recreation facilities are only the stadia in Trinidad, or the big cycling tracks or the big swimming pools and so on, not realizing that there are hundreds of thousands of people who live in rural communities and who depend on a simple recreation ground with a very good pavilion, with lights on the ground, and a cricket pitch, and also to facilitate football. In some areas we can go even better and put a basketball court. Now, those are not very expensive facilities, and what I'm doing in my constituency is I'm lighting up the recreation grounds.
As Pune lights were switched on, Surprise Recreation will soon receive its $1 million modern-day pavilion. Water is life. But it would surprise you that many communities are only now benefiting from a pipe-borne supply. Brasso Venado in the Tabaquite constituency is one of them. And ironically, it is a village that sits a literal stone's throw above the Navet Reservoir. The delivery of pipe-borne water is a high priority for the MP. And here atop the Central Range, several areas are about to receive a pipe-borne supply.
I found also areas where people did not have running water, although they have lived there for over 50, 60 years. Two particular areas come to mind, Upper Coruscant and Brasso Venado and Allen Road. I have been able to get water lines run in Allen Road and into Brasso Venado. And in Coruscant we dug a well, drilled a well, but it was not fruitful. So now we have to find an alternative method of getting water into that area. The Navet Dam is a couple hundred yards in terms of how the crow flies into Brasso Venado and Allen Road. And it is very difficult to stomach the fact that those people who are so close to the dam have not had water for all these years, especially when you consider that there's a school in Brasso Venado and the children go to school there and they continue to trap marine water or depend on public utilities sending water for them from time to time.
Mr. Rambachan is trying his best to see that we get full access to this water after a full 50 years.
I feel very proud that I'm getting water in my line. I don't have to tote water anymore. So it's my children and my husband. It's helping me a great deal.
The Tabaquite constituency is also benefiting from the $1 billion road reconstruction, repair and repaving exercise announced by the Works and Infrastructure Minister Austin Jack Warner.
So this program the Prime Minister launched last week. The first phase, $400 million, 160 projects. And then we'll have a second phase and a third phase. And hopefully by the end of this third phase, we shall be able to regularize almost all the major roads in the country.
in the history of this country, no government has undertaken such a massive program of road rehabilitation, and especially coming within 22 months of office. No election in the air. Now that tells you the philosophy of the People's Partnership government. It is not a philosophy which says simply because we want to be in office that we are going to pave your roads and so on. This is a government whose intention it is to bring the best resources and to bring the best quality of life to people. And our presence here is a continued manifestation of that philosophy, and of course fulfilling the promise we made to people in 2010 that particularly matters relating to infrastructure will be dealt with as expeditiously as it has to be dealt with.
Job creation, the needs of the elderly, and securing the wellness of his constituents are all part of the plans for the Tabaquite Member of Parliament.
When he became Minister of Foreign Affairs and so on, I called him, and we hooked up to do wherever, whenever we have a team in, where it is best needed and so on, and we continue that relationship. We seem to have the same way of thinking in terms of we just want to help people.
In a world of dwindling food supplies and a country of rising commodity prices, much emphasis is being placed on agriculture. Here in Tabaquite, like everywhere else in Trinidad and Tobago, the government is offering incentives as never before, hoping to ignite the passion of the farming community.
When Aranguez floods, Tabaquite feeds the nation. And people are going to be surprised when you go out there and you see the thousands and thousands of heads of lettuce, or the thousands of plants, tomato plants that are planted. In fact, I have one farmer who plants up to 35,000 roots of tomatoes, and sweet peppers and everything else. It's really an area that feeds the nation. Now, when I went in there, the roads were dilapidated, the agricultural access roads. And I spoke to Minister Barrett, who was very responsive. We held a meeting with all the farmers in the area. That day, almost 300 farmers turned up to that meeting because they were really very interested in getting help. And thus far, we have been able to rehabilitate just over 18 kilometers of agricultural access roads. And that has also opened up about 500 plus acres more of land for people to plant. So people are very happy with the developments that have occurred in the area of agriculture, and in particular the Agricultural Access Road Program.
Tabaquite is a productive food basket, with different types of crops reaching the kitchen tables and sustaining livelihoods. Food production initiatives took a great boost recently when the Japanese government, through its ambassador, Yoshimasa Tezuka, donated more than $500,000 for the construction of greenhouses at 5 primary and secondary schools in South Trinidad. Like his initiatives in creating child-friendly communities, this project is the brainchild of the MP, who established the linkages between the embassy and the Tabaquite Vegetable Farmers Association that will act as custodians of the grant assistance.
We have, a partnership between school, the agri-science teachers, the Tabaquite Farmers Association, and where we can increase the interest again in agriculture. But the greenhouse, for example, that's going to be set up at the Gasparilla Composite School will also be used by YTEP to train people in greenhouse farming.
As indeed he did in San Fabian, when a landslide destroyed the homes of 10 families, among whom were children, occupying life-threatening houses until Dr. Rambachan secured quick assistance from the Housing Ministry.
Yesterday,
well,
fulfilling it.
Well, firstly, let me thank Minister Munilal. From the time I spoke to him, he was very responsive, and then within, I would say 12 hours, Jillian John got in touch with me, and we decided that we're going to come here today, and that is the measure of Jillian John. She gets the job done, and I am very happy that she has seen firsthand what is amiss here.
Not long after, the MP and Jolene John would hand out keys to the newest homeowners in the Tabaquite constituency. Notwithstanding his busy schedule, Suruj Rambachan finds time to offer his constituents a different type of guidance and counseling, sharing with them an intimate and personal slice of his upbringing.
सुमिरत सिद्ध हो गणनायक करिवर बदला.
A management consultant by profession, Dr. Suruj Rambachan is applying his skills and training as a social scientist to secure for his constituents a better life through the cooperation of the local government representatives, dedication of his constituency staff, the commitment of NGOs, favorable responses from quasi-state agencies, and the unrelenting support of the Kamla Prasad Bisesa-led People's Partnership government. It symbolizes the 21st century approach to effective constituency representation by a sitting MP and the efficient delivery of cabinet and ministerial responsibilities. When in the parliament, he takes the task seriously.
Firstly, I'm very proud of the People's Partnership government. I'm very proud of the way the Prime Minister, despite the challenges she has had, has gone about the task of being a Prime Minister in the country. She has held the partnership together. She has been very fair and equal-minded towards all the people in this country. She has not for one moment thought of one group as different to another group. She has been treating everyone with equality. She has tried to ensure that that equality of opportunity is there for all. One of the things that I appreciate very much is that my ministerial colleagues, they work as a team. And there's a deep level of understanding and appreciation by them of the problems that other ministers face, especially ministers who don't have what you call driver ministries or delivery ministries. And I must say that they have been extremely cooperative in my case, in my constituency.
As a minister, he fulfills his cabinet responsibilities with seriousness, representing Trinidad and Tobago at very high levels, like the Commonwealth Ministerial Action Group, of which he is the chairman.
In fact, I will say that's the high point of not only my career as a Minister of Foreign Affairs, but the high point of my career. For all my life, I have been engaged in negotiations and teaching management and leadership skills and what have you. And this opportunity came because I'm Vice Chairman of the CIMAG, and also with the concurrence of Australia and Canada and the other countries that are represented on CIMAG. I was invited to lead a ministerial delegation that consisted of the Foreign Minister of Bangladesh and the High Representative from Australia, who represented Mr. Kevin Rudd, who was then Foreign Minister, to go to the Maldives and to investigate what really happened there in terms of the removal of a president, so-called resignation, and the appointment of another president. And of course, we did our report over a 4-day period and reported back to the CIMAG full committee in London, and then a decision was taken to hold the membership of Maldives in CIMAG in abeyance until the matter has been resolved. Since then, one of the recommendations we made was to send an envoy, which we did, and he has also reported back. At least the Parliament, the Majlis as it's called, finally met, and now we are hoping that the recommendations we made, that there will be an amendment to the Constitution so that if an election is held now, the results will hold for 5 years, as well as the holding of early elections will help to resolve the divisions that exist in that society.
Under his guidance, the ministry is now demystifying its image from a standoffish and impersonal bureaucracy to take on a human face as a critical arm of government. In between the seriousness, the MP and Minister finds time for some social encounters with his staff in Foreign Affairs and Communications and at his constituency office.
We like how Mr. Rambachan deal with us, he deal with us straight. And what we need now is the politics and the politicians and them to come out straight with people. Don't run us around, please. Trinidad and Tobago, we need some kind of governance, and this is what we call quality governance. You understand? Even though we didn't get it, we get it. We like how the minister come out and give us a quick response, yes or no. I like that. I appreciate that.
I'll say thanks to the members from Parliament now, because we're coming from about years going now. We behind this flood scene, and no one was taking any interest in this. And It's just since last year, well, I see it really progress in where it is today. So, I'll thank the members from Parliament. First I'll thank Freeras, Mr. Rambachan, Mr. Jack Warner, all these fellas and them who come here and see this flood, and they do a real nice job.
It was such a joy to know that the house I was living in before, it needed a lot of repairs and things, and then I was offered help from Dr. Rambachan, and plus our councillor, he agreed to, with the cooperation between him and the URP, under the URP project, they get it done.
For Suruj Rambachan, being faithful to the social contract with the people of Trinidad and Tobago is a sacred obligation. Delivering to the constituents of Tabaquite has become his mission.
One thing I could say about Mr. Rambachan is that having knowledge is one, but dispersing it, a lot of MPs don't know how to disperse, and I have picked up that with Mr. Rambachan. He has a way in which he can channel, finance, time, his efforts into being an MP for Tabaquite, which is wonderful.
I often wonder how to draw energy to do work without getting de-energized. That is something that I battled with for a long time. And then it dawned upon me that if work can become worship, as Sai Baba says, if work can become worship, and I believe Gandhi also said that, then you will never be without a purpose. You see, if you have a purpose, purpose is what drives you. Purpose is what gives you the energy. Because with a purpose, there's something always larger than the work itself. So I see work as worship, in which you do the work as an offering. In other words, if I do something, believe it or not, I don't see the color of a person's eyes or the tint of their hair, or whether they are African, Indian, Chinese, Syrian, or what have you, and so on. I don't see that at all. Believe it or not, I see the receiver in the person as God, and that's where I make my offering. So whatever I do is done as an offering to God. In that way, two things happen. Yes, my work becomes worship, but then my life becomes devotional. So for me, it is not Suruj Rambachan going to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or to my office in Gasparilla. It is the devotee going to work, and that is how I try to see my work. And I think it's from that I get energized.
When he had received the news that he was appointed as Minister of Local Government, he called me on the phone. I could hear voices in the back. Obviously, he had just received this news, and he called me to share this news with me. And he said, how strange life is. I've come back to where I started. It's a full circle for me. And as you said, this is so true. I think he's very happy. He will be and is very happy in this position, because I think nothing gives him as much joy as being with people, being there on the ground with them, serving in whatever capacity he can, responding to their needs, providing amenities and facilities,